It's funny. It's really fun. It's interesting. But when you start hearing falsified stories from the people who really know you, that's when it really affects you. So and I haven't. So, you know, it is what it is. I violated, the wardrobe, and that's it. You don't have to dig into certain stories that violated curfew, was out at a club, somebody was caught in the room. It was, like I said, I still stand by Coach Rivera's decision, and that's just a warning for everybody. And at no point in time or even still do I think I'm above the law. I never thought that I'm not that type of player. A lot of people may think that from the outside looking in, because number one, it doesn't bother me because they don't know me. And for anybody who's ever known me or was on my team, they would know, this situation could have been prevented because of my decision.
Well, Dylan Cam Newton had quite a little candid and cozy conversation with the media today. That was his response to another question about being benched for that first play against the Seahawks last week. What'd you think of his response?
It's hard to believe him. All the kind of smiling, the body language. First and foremost, it's hard when people that are really close to you start saying stuff. That's not happening. And then, he lists all this very detailed stuff of what it wasn't for that sort of makes me think that's exactly what happened. It wasn't for breaking curfew, going to a club, mixing it up with the hotel staff, ordering chicken fingers too late, all this other crazy stuff. It's like, well, maybe that's exactly what it was for. I have no idea. He's right. We are on the outside looking in, and it's pure speculation, but it's hard for me to believe this is all revolves around the lack of a tie. I mean, look how many damn bracelets. He has 10 bracelets on. That's obviously not part of the wardrobe rules there, but the tie apparently is. I just have a hard time believing it.
Well, I hope your ears are open like Cam's are in this picture, because he was far from done with his responses today at this press conference. How about, Cam, you discuss the injuries the Panthers have suffered this year?
You never know when the Grim Reaper is going, come by and touch whoever, man. And we've been unfortunate at not only the offensive line position, but everybody that's suffered any type of injuries. But the fans don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. Nobody wants to hear the realism of why you put yourself in this position. But yet we just got to find ways to win football games, and that's kind of what it always comes down to.
Fair point, Dylan. A reason to explain why the Panthers are playing way worse than they did a year ago.
It's one of them, but every team goes through injuries. Last year's version of the Panthers went through injuries. They found a way to not let it keep them down and still win football games, something they have not been able to do. Even just the way he says the realism, it's like, well, that's the real reason, but we're not going to make excuses. That sort of sounded like an excuse, but Cam knows how it goes in the NFL. Everyone deals with injuries. They're just not dealing with adversity the way they did last year.
How about, Cam, you deal with a question concerning distractions around your team?
One of the other narratives this week has been folks questioning whether you had properly prepared yourself after that Super Bowl season. Did you have too many outside distractions? What would you say to that?
I'm a professional. The distractions come every single day. From family, from media, from workload. It's my job to put myself in the best situation to succeed. I understand we're not having the season that we wanted to have, but it's no need for people to just malicious go out and say, well, he was doing too much, he was doing this, he's worried about this, he's worried about that. That's the easy route, But for me, I have a family to provide for. And with that comes a responsibility to myself that, from off the field issues to on the field to preparing for on the field, it's my job to be in the best wave as possible. That's mentally and physically.
How would you grade that response from Cam?
Pretty diplomatic, typical, we say coach speak, typical athlete speak. Trying to dissuade the rumors that it was distractions. I think it would have been a little bit different if they had won the Super Bowl. There was certainly a lot of spotlight on Cam on this whole team because they did not perform up to snuff in that Super Bowl. In the end, I think this was a guy that has a lot going on in his life. He's spinning a lot of plates, long before the Super Bowl. I don't think it changed so much that is the singular reason I would put for the complete turnaround from 15-1 regular season Super Bowl appearance to this dismal season where they're not going to make the playoffs.
Well, it sounded and looked like Cam loved answering that question. So the media asked it again, more on the same subject. Here's Cam's response.
Would you want to do that show again this offseason?
Why not?
I mean, are you planning on doing it?
Who knows? And if I am, I don't think no one can tell me not. Yeah, I'm just saying. I think oftentimes, as athletes, I always say, we get ridiculed for being human beings. I had a situation that happened in California, and, just at the hotel, and, one of the kids just trying to get my attention, right? So walking out to my Uber, and at one point of the time, no one said Cam. They was just like, oh my God, I think that's Cam. I think that's Cam. I think that's Cam. And one of the kids runs, and I had a hoodie on trying to be as discreet as possible. He looks up and says, yeah, that is him. So one of the kids just, blurts out an explicit. I'm like, dude, come on. It's and for people to hear it, oftentimes, like I say, in our position, we don't ever get to express ourselves that we're real humans. So, I wanted to talk to the kid and tell him, I'm not going to touch you. I'm not going to, put my hands on you. I just want you to understand something. At the end of the day, you get sleep, you eat, you're in a good mood and a bad mood just off of certain things that happen in your life. That's who I am. Just because you see me on TV, just because, you may follow me on social media, kind of put me in a immortal state sometimes, but for me, I'm human. I want people to see my mistakes. I want people to see my flaws, and I want them to realize that he still makes mistakes, and I still do. I still wake up every single morning trying to master this game of football, knowing that nobody has really ever did it. They may, opinions of fans may say this person is better than that person, and just overall in life, I have responsibilities, off the field that this, life is bigger than football. So if you're questioning certain things that I'm doing, I have a whole nother list of requirements and duties that, that I need to take care of. So, outside of football, I do have a life. Football takes up a lot of my life, and I appreciate it. This is the life I chose. I'm not complaining. Hear me out when I say that. All I'm telling you is and just everybody that, I'm human. So that's the moral of the story.
Oh, Cam, done yet? Done with
I don't
response?
think so, but for now, yeah. I didn't follow that at all. I think it started about a Nickelodeon show, and then I didn't realize he was immortal at all.
Raiden from Mortal Kombat. Cannot be stopped. Well, Dylan, if you thought that was great, how about some more on how Cam Newton is treated?
Everybody that's in that locker room, I mean, you can say sometimes you may get a rap that you can't really agree upon, but that's just life, man. If I was trying to impress every single person that thought I was an ass, then I would be drained. You know what I'm saying? I'm me, and I apologize, Mama. She told me to stop. But if that was my way of living, trying to make this person happy, make that person happy, do this and do that, and say, well, he just don't get it. Hey, I'm not living for the people like that. I'm trying to inspire people as much as possible while I do have this pinnacle that God has blessed me with. And if I do, then good. And if I don't, then it pay you, to pay me no mind, it doesn't cost or hurt you or whatever. Do whatever you got to do. But I'm just trying to perfect myself in a sense and, make the most of everything that I'm coming across.
Fair or foul perspective from Cam on how he's treated by others.
Still a little flighty, especially when you take it out of context. But I think in general it's fair. Certainly more so than the last soundbite we heard where he was kind of all over the place. That he's trying to, serve himself first and take care of his own satisfactions and make sure when he looks in the mirror at the end of the day, he's happy with the guy he is more so than Joe Blow reporter or fan or somebody else. I think that's in general fair, and we all go through that on our daily lives.
Well, criticism Cam is getting on the field this year is that his numbers are not quite stacking up to his 2015 MVP season.
It's numerous things that I need not say, but I could tell you it's not because of preparation. You just the luck of the draw sometimes. You can stay in here, you can sleep here. Watching a lot of film, being prepared on certain situations, and we get paid, or we get let's say we get ridiculed off our production on the field, let's say. So it doesn't matter how much I prepare, if it doesn't translate on the field, then people would just say, "Oh, he's just garbage." So for me, it's trying to get it to carry over from practice to games, and in this situation, in this season, it just hasn't turned over, and I don't have nobody to blame but myself.
Taking some onus there a little bit, but I like the dramatic pause that he had. What do you think of his response?
Ridicule. I think he's right. In the end, I don't care about how long he's sitting there watching film. I would gather that the longer he watches film should equate to at least somewhat better numbers, if not drastically better numbers.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, you're right. Sometimes, your division over the course of an offseason gets a little better. They're a little tougher to beat. They're a little tougher to carve up for 4 touchdowns and no picks. So it is a little bit circumstantial. But in the end, fans, media, the front office, nobody really wants to hear that much. They want to look at the raw numbers. And if the bottom line tells them you're doing your job, then that's what it's going to tell them more than what you can verbalize of, well, I've been sleeping here and I've been putting in an extra, 40 minutes every Thursday watching film. Doesn't really matter if we don't see it on Sundays.
Well, some of those fans and media are questioning Cam about his mechanics, so he had to answer that inquiry as well.
Are you still confident in your mechanics? You think you're mechanically skilled? People want to say you throw off your back foot.
Who is people? Is it a quarterback? Have they played in this league?
Some of them.
Okay, cool. Well, bravo to those guys. But I look at even the best quarterbacks that they said play this game, and mechanically, it's not about that. It's about completions. Thank you.
Thank you, Cam. Thank you. How would you grade Cam Newton's meeting with the media today?
I'm going to go C+. I think there was a lot of, throwing some curveballs at the media to try to get off the actual root of the question. But listen, that's part of an athlete's job. So, to flat out come out there and be like, yeah, I haven't worked as hard. I'm not as motivated. Reaching that personal pinnacle of winning an MVP. I kind of just phoned it in this year. You're never going to hear an athlete say that. Not that I think that's what Cam did, but the raw numbers are down. We know that. We try to speculate why. The first thing we can assume is we're not going to get those answers directly from the horse's mouth, because why would he tell us? And I think it's a myriad of reasons. And to try to put it on one thing mechanically, or the fact that he's not watching a film, or the fact that he didn't wear a tie on the bus on the road, those are all things. But I think, from the sheer that sharpened focus that you need not only to succeed in this league, but play at the level Cam did last year and be a leader of a team that goes to a Super Bowl and wins your conference, it is just so difficult. And even just a slight downtick from that attention to detail can have you not only not 15-1 and not winning your conference, it can have you with only a handful of wins and a lot of questions to answer.
Well, I hope you enjoyed spending a few minutes of your day listening to Cam on Cam.